Shell, if you're gonna do something, you gotta do it now.
Hey guys, what is going on? Chris here with Shughead Gaming, bringing you my review for Blood in Truth, developed by Sony's London Studios and released May 28, 2019, exclusively for PSVR. This is selling for an estimated retail price of $35, and of course, that depends on your region. As usual, this game was reviewed on a PS4 Pro. Battle through the crime-ridden London underworld as elite soldier Ryan Marks in your deadliest mission yet, to save your family from a ruthless criminal empire. Take out your targets with breathless, over-the-top, epic gunplay as you drive, parachute, and rappel across the city. This full-length VR adventure comes from the same team that teased us years ago with what was possible on the PSVR with their short experience titled The London Heist. Do they deliver on the huge expectations riding on this title? Let's find out. As always guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you would like to see more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing, and for video updates, hit that bell icon. And remember, if you want more PSVR news and info, check Shughead Gaming out on Twitter and Facebook. As always, let's kick off this review with a look at graphics. Developed and published by Sony themselves and in development for almost 3 years, to say the expectations were high for this would be an understatement. Blood in Truth has Sony money behind it, and it shows. In fact, this is very likely the best visuals we'll ever see on the PSVR when powered by the mighty little PS4. Visuals here are definitely going for a grounded, realistic approach, and do so in a capacity that we rarely see on the PSVR. Everything here from texture detail, lighting, and motion capture work all scream AAA and deliver a level of authenticity and immersion that we rarely see outside of some of the best VR titles. Being a pro-enhanced game, the game world is at times shockingly sharp while retaining a level of detail we expect from some of Sony's biggest exclusives in flat gaming. Some aliasing issues and detail drop-off can be seen when looking at the game with a critical eye, but these were never too distracting and definitely not the norm when playing on a Pro. For comparison's sake, non-action set pieces came off very reminiscent of similar scenes from the London Heist, albeit with more detailed environments and superior motion capture. While motion capture of character movements and facial animations don't quite reach the heights seen in games like God of War or the Uncharted series, they are easily the best we have seen on the PSVR, and honestly, come off much more compelling than those other titles when seen in VR and right up in your face. The presence of these characters is truly fantastic and totally immersive, really giving you the feeling of interacting with real people. They didn't react to my immature VR behavior, but hey, that's what PSVR 2 will be for. Where Blood in Truth really makes the London Heist feel like a 3-year-old game though, is when the game kicks into action mode. The car chase scene being the highlight of the London Heist is easily bested here by a similar chase within just the first few minutes of Blood in Truth, in the very Bond-esque adrenaline shot of an opening. A quick comparison of these two scenes easily demonstrates the increased level of detail, lighting effects, and just overall finesse that Blood in Truth brings to the table. And that's just the opening scene. Action pieces throughout easily best this opening moment and bring with them a truly impressive level of on-screen action, complete with some incredible particle, lighting, and world manipulation effects on a level for which PSVR has never seen. Also worth noting here is the fantastic variety of creative locations throughout, with the game changing up locales and action scenes in a frenzied fashion, again very reminiscent of the Bond franchise. Even more impressive is the detail, imagination, and character that each and every location has been crafted with. The campaign may be a quick 5 to 6 hour blast of entertainment, but with its ever-changing set pieces, it often feels like a greatest hits package of some of the best gaming and movie moments of the past 50 years. Bottom line, Blood in Truth is a visual tour de force that pushes the visual expectations of PSVR and does so leaving nothing on the table. Sound is up next.
The thing is, it's very difficult getting you all together. And my offer is for the whole family.
Yeah, can we hurry this up, Tone? I've got a date tonight.
You open your fucking mouth again, and I'm gonna put a bullet through her face.
Shoot him! Shoot him!
Oh, shit! No! Oh!
AAA treatment continues as we take a look at sound. Here in Blood and Truth, London Studios has easily delivered a sound package on par with the best PS4 exclusives, giving us Hollywood-level performance that not only sound authentic and powerful, but due to the expert use of motion capture, look the part as well. And speaking of Hollywood, that brings me to the world sounds that encompass each and every scene, filling them with life. Quieter scenes feel authentic and lived in, bringing with them a level of immersion that can really only be fully appreciated when taken in the headset. This is where the excellent 3D audio design maybe shines the most, as it seamlessly blends world sounds and voice performances as you look and move around the world. Often 3D audio in VR can still be a bit abrupt as sounds transition from ear to ear, but here everything is handled with a level of quality and detail again we rarely see in these still early days of VR. When the action kicks in, as it often does, the sound mix erupts with the sounds of bullets flying, henchmen yelling, and of course explosions that even Michael Bay would be impressed with. Guns in Blood and Truth could be a little punchier for my tastes, but they sound authentic and still make for some fun gunplay. Maybe the game's strongest audio asset though is when the action kicks in, is its tendency to not repeat itself. So often we play games where henchmen bring to the world a few canned responses to your presence and repeat these over and over, killing that sense of immersion. This may be a welcome side effect of the game's tighter game length, but every encounter felt unique and authentic, even if it was just me shooting them in the face. Finally, special mention must be given to the fantastic music throughout. Coming from a select group of mostly England-based musicians, the soundtrack is filled with original music from the likes of Ocean Wisdom and Eyes, and immediately gives the game its own unique vibe right from the moment the opening credits hit. This modern spin on the Guy Ritchie crime drama sound is a perfect fit and rounds out this fantastic sound mix. And that brings us to gameplay. If you've played the London Heist and left that experience wanting more, you're in luck, because that is exactly what Blood and Truth brings us to the table. That being said, where London Heist came off as a fantastic indie short, here Blood and Truth feels more like a Guy Ritchie and John Woo passion project with a $100 million budget. And that really does describe my 5-hour playthrough of London Studios' latest creation, a fully fleshed out vision of what they only hinted at almost 3 years ago when the PSVR first launched. What we have now in front of us is essentially an interactive movie that allows you to live out almost every action movie fantasy you ever had. The story here is one of crime, betrayal, and revenge, so basically it hits all the notes you would expect it to going in. As a result, I can't say I ever really got too engrossed in the story, as the slightly generic nature of it all left me interested enough to pay attention, but still just served as a means to get to the next memorable action sequence. Fortunately, there are plenty of those, each more amazing than the next. As essentially a rail shooter, this may disappoint those looking for more freedom and fearing another repeat disappointment after the whole Bravo Team fiasco. But trust me when I say Bravo Team, this is not. In fact, this serves as a perfect example of how to take the Bravo Team gameplay mechanic and do it properly. Here, London Studios has forgone free movement for a more focused and choreographed cinematic experience, carefully using character and story to set up set pieces, then dragging us kicking and screaming and guns blazing through some of gaming's best action beats. In fact, Blood and Truth simply wouldn't have worked as a full movement game. Fortunately for us, what this means is a game that casually and delicately directs us to do what it needs us to do in order to deliver just the right story and action beats at just the right time. Now, this doesn't mean we are simply passengers on this ride. In fact, I was continually surprised at how much control I was given throughout. Besides the gunplay, which we will discuss in depth in just a moment, the game had me crawling through air ducts, climbing walls, picking locks, and grabbing ledges while flying through the air. In addition to this, we are given the choice to take various points of cover and even strafe left and right while under fire. This isn't free movement to be sure, but it did lend a dynamic to the gunfights that I wasn't expecting. And speaking of the gunplay, well, it's fun as hell and worth the price of admission alone. As soon as I picked up a gun and started shooting it, it was very obvious that London Studios had gone to great lengths to take some of the great gun mechanics from VR games over the years and bring them all together to create a polished and extremely accessible gunplay system. Like Killing Floor Incursion, guns and ammo are holstered on your body, with larger firearms being placed on your back for storage. However, where at times I struggled with where Killing Floor decided to holster my gear, here in Blood and Truth we are thankfully given the choice to choose where these items holster on our body. Reloading guns, while a favorite of VR gamers, has in the past also been done with different levels of success, oftentimes feeling clumsy and irritating when trying to show finesse when under fire. Here in Blood and Truth, reloading is as simple as grabbing from your chest pouch and simply bringing the ammo to the gun. At first, this more automated reload mechanic left me feeling a bit wanting, but as the action kicked in, I came to quickly appreciate how smooth this approach was in combat and realize it worked perfectly in this game by giving the player a sense of tactile involvement in the gunplay, but without sacrificing the cinematic approach to gunfights it aimed to deliver. The end result was firefights that always left me feeling like a total badass and never dying because I failed to get a clip in. As the gunfights became more intense and dual wielding was thrown into the mix, this fluid approach to the reload mechanic went from being a nice addition to an absolute necessity, as I had to manage 2 large rifles on my back, 2 handguns, and a grenade from time to time, the latter of which brought my mouth into play. So yes, the gunplay is overwhelmingly fun, but it doesn't come off without a few hitches. Most noticeably is the way in which it handles ammo management. Ammo boxes are strewn across the world and picked up and placed onto your chest. Unfortunately, with London Studios' effort to keep the HUD free of any in-game information, I seem to have an endless single clip, until later. As the firefights got bigger, I didn't. My issue was that I simply had no idea how much ammo I actually had, other than just some. Fortunately, the game keeps the ammo plentiful in an almost arcade way, but it would have been nice to have more communication on this aspect. Another issue I had was the lack of control when in cover. Left to right movement was often available, but I would have liked the ability to step up and out of cover and shoot. If you play seated, sure, you can just step up and achieve the desired result, but with the game's much tighter tracking area than what was in London Heist, and this being a non-feature if you are already playing standing, this isn't really a usable feature most of the time. The end result is firefights that often had me switching cover points and shooting mid-run. While this did make for some amazing John Wick moments, I still would have liked the control here. Outside of these few complaints, gunplay was a blast, and it really gave gunplay an almost sandbox type of feel. Throwing ammo, spinning guns, and even a slowdown target feature ensure that all sorts of John Woo moments are often encouraged, making for some of the most satisfying shootouts I've ever had in VR. Tracking here in Blood and Truth is also spot on and some of the best we have seen in a PSVR shooter. Dual wielding, reloading, and looking down the sights on guns all worked flawlessly and brought a level of accuracy to the gunplay that, while a bit forgiving, also felt accurate enough that you wanted to get good at it. Fortunately, adding to this feeling of accuracy is the lack of bullet sponges in the game, allowing for guys to go down when they should. When you're finished the campaign, the game does encourage repeat playthroughs with a multitude of collectibles throughout the game, which are then highlighted upon completion, with the ability to see what you found in each level and the ability to jump into said level to get them all. In addition, the endgame offers up the shooting range and attack challenges on each level, complete with online leaderboards. Future content mentioned to be added in future updates from the developer consist of a new game plus, which will allow you to replay the game with all unlockables from the start, a hard mode, and additional challenge modes. Motion sickness could be an issue for some, as this game does tend to go big with lots of movement either running or in vehicles, heights, tight spaces, and everything in between. Fortunately, there are comfort features in the settings, so this should be a comfortable playthrough for most, especially considering the game's love of slow motion action in big scenes. Blood and Truth can be played with either a DS4 or 2 Move controllers, but this is highly recommended to be played with the latter. It can easily be played seated or standing with a moderate amount of room recommended, as the developer recommends sitting 2 meters minimum from your camera. And finally, that brings us to fun factor and my final review. All in all, Blood and Truth could very well be one of the most satisfying 5 hours I've had in VR, and easily my new go-to game for putting friends and family into when showing off the potential of VR. The combination of accessibility, high production values, and some of the best moments available in PSVR makes for a very potent and memorable experience that stands with some of the best games on this platform. As you know, I hate number ratings and instead rate games on a basis of buy, wait for a sale, or burn it to the ground. This is an absolute must-own PSVR title. The quality on display here and just the sensation of playing it makes the asking price here ridiculously fair, even if you only plan to play it once and never return. The amount of money Sony has spent here on this title can easily be seen all throughout, and as a result has created a title for gamers new and old, VR or not, to take notice of where gaming is headed. Enjoy. Anyways guys, that's it for me. If you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you would like to see more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing, and for video updates, hit that bell icon. I'll catch you guys on my next video.